The sliding doors at the Costco in Riverside Heights had only just begun to part when a piercing scream shattered the quiet of my Saturday morning. Standing in the doorway was a woman dressed in a rhinestone-covered polo, oversized designer sunglasses perched on a mound of bleached hair, and a shopping cart angled like a blockade. With her arms stretched wide, she looked like she was guarding a sacred temple. Just behind her, a bewildered older couple clutched their membership cards as she jabbed a coral-painted finger in their direction. My name's Jonathan Garrison. I'm 34, a project manager, and my only goal that morning was to grab some bulk batteries and maybe a $1.50 hot dog before heading to my nephew's birthday. Instead, I ended up front row to the most outrageous display of self-importance I've ever seen in a warehouse store, and I've survived Black Friday. At that point, I didn't know her name. Soon, though, everyone within earshot would. Patricia Vanderbrook. She wasted no time broadcasting that she'd been an executive member since 2009, as if her black membership card granted her the authority of a Fortune 500 CEO. Clad in a tennis skirt and spotless, pricey sneakers that had clearly never touched a treadmill, she brandished her card like it was an FBI badge. From my car, I watched her grill every shopper approaching the doors. She demanded to see their cards, her cart forming a barricade. Some people sidestepped her, but she wouldn't let up. She even bumped heels with her cart, barking about Costco hierarchy and the privileges of executive status. The elderly couple finally gave up, shuffling back toward their car, probably deciding they could live without their industrial-sized toilet paper for now. That's when I made my mistake. Thinking I could slide by unnoticed, I hopped out my car with my card ready, trying to time it while she was hassling a young mom juggling two toddlers. No such luck. Her head whipped around with hawk-like precision, sunglasses flying off her head and clattering on the concrete. She stabbed a finger at me and declared, loud enough to echo, that I reeked of a Gold Star membership. Apparently, in her mind, non-executive members carried some kind of contagious shopping disease. I calmly explained that I was indeed an executive member, had been for 3 years, and just wanted to shop. She wasn't buying it. She demanded proof. When I showed her my card, she squinted at it as though it were counterfeit money. Then she pulled out her phone, insisting she had special software to verify real executive cards. The app she opened? Calculator. Still, she insisted my card was fake because, according to her, a genuine card would have triggered her system. Then came the piece de resistance. She whipped out a laminated sign she must have ordered herself, emblazoned in Comic Sans with the words executive members only beyond this point. She slapped it against the sliding glass, so hard the sensors went haywire, the doors opening and shutting in a frantic strobe that made the scene look like a bizarre nightclub for deranged shoppers. When I tried to edge past her blockade, Patricia completely unraveled. She dialed 911, reporting in dramatic tones that an aggressive non-member was trying to infiltrate Costco. She used phrases like hostile infiltration and membership fraud, all while I stood there in cargo shorts and sneakers, reusable bags dangling from my hand, wondering how my life had turned into this. The young mom with the toddlers finally gave up, but not before recording the whole ordeal. By then, a small audience of shoppers had gathered, half amused and half horrified. One older man in a veteran's cap even gave a slow clap when Patricia proclaimed herself the guardian of executive shopping integrity. I'm fairly certain the applause was sarcasm. Patricia raised her voice to the crowd, declaring that Costco was supposed to operate as a two-tiered society, and that allowing different membership levels to mingle would result in disaster in the aisles. She insisted that executive members had earned the privilege of shopping without the inconvenience of sharing space with Gold Star members, who she claimed didn't understand the proper etiquette of buying in bulk. She even coined the term membership mixing, treating it like a national emergency that required immediate action. About 10 minutes later, 2 officers arrived, Lindsay and Harrison. They looked around with the weary patience of professionals who had seen plenty of nonsense, but still weren't immune to being surprised by the sheer creativity of human behavior. Patricia darted toward them, brandishing her membership card and waving her laminated sign, demanding they arrest me for membership impersonation and trespassing, which she insisted were federal crimes. Officer Lindsay calmly asked her to explain the situation, which only fueled Patricia's fire. She launched into a 15-minute speech about how America's shopping standards were deteriorating and how people like me were undermining the exclusive Costco experience. She compared it to sneaking into first class on a plane, but this was a warehouse full of gallon jars of mayonnaise. When Officer Harrison asked for my membership card, I handed it over without hesitation. He gave it a quick glance, confirmed it was authentic, and returned with a faint smile, assuring me I had every right to be there. That should have ended things, but Patricia erupted again, accusing the officers of being bought out by big box retailers and demanded to escalate her grievance to their supervisors, Costco's corporate office, and even the mayor. Her outrage peaked when she shoved her cart directly into my legs, sending me stumbling back and dropping my reusable bags. The officers immediately stepped in. Lindsay positioned herself between us, while Harrison told Patricia firmly that she had just crossed into assault. Patricia tried to twist it into self-defense against membership fraud, but even she seemed to realize how absurd that sounded the second she said it. The officers gave her two choices: leave immediately with just a trespass warning, or face arrest for assault and disorderly conduct. Patricia chose a third path, declaring that her executive membership granted her the authority to perform a citizen's arrest. She tried to detain me for membership misrepresentation and fraudulent shopping. Harrison had to turn his head to hide his laughter, while Lindsay, still professional, explained that Costco memberships didn't carry law enforcement powers. When Patricia ignored them and began fastening her cart to the entrance doors of the bike lock she'd pulled from her purse, the officers decided enough was enough. They informed her she was under arrest for assault, disorderly conduct, and trespassing, since management had now come out and explicitly demanded she leave. She shrieked about discrimination against executive members as the handcuffs went on, clutching her laminated sign as if it were a sacred relic. The gathered shoppers broke into applause as the officers led her to the patrol car. Even as she was placed in the back seat, she continued ranting about membership apartheid and threatening to sue Costco, its employees, the police, and even me for emotional distress. Ted, the store manager, shook his head and confided that Patricia had been causing problems for months, harassing shoppers, enforcing her own rules, and even trying to assign checkout lanes based on membership status. As the squad car pulled away, her muffled shouting fading into the distance, I finally walked through the automatic doors to begin shopping. But then it hit me. I had left my wallet in the car during all the commotion. I had my membership card in hand, but no way to pay for anything. Defeated, I walked back out past the very spot where Patricia had staged her meltdown. The elderly couple she'd bullied earlier were finally making it inside, relieved the ordeal was over. The young mother with the toddlers was long gone, probably uploading the video of the fiasco online. 3 weeks later, I read in the local news that Patricia had been found guilty of assault and disorderly conduct. She was sentenced to probation, 40 hours of community service, ordered to pay a $500 fine, plus my medical expenses for the bruises she'd caused. But the biggest blow? Costco corporate permanently revoked her membership, banning her from every location nationwide. Patricia Vanderbrook, self-appointed guardian of executive shopping integrity, would never step foot in a Costco again.